tu sabes, Mega, your host of Yo Comic Crusaders Undercover Capes. Told you before, I was going to have another guest on today, right? This man, he's a man after my heart right here, bro. You know, as a Latino, he created this short film, this story on GeekFest. I mean, anyone is going to be able to enjoy this, of course. But, you know, I think if you're Latino, you're going to get this extra little, snap, and have this smirk on your face. Like, oh, okay, cool stuff. Who am I talking about? Well, the one and only is Gutierrez. Wepa, hermano, what's popping?
Yo, how's it going, man? What's up?
All right, brother. I rolled my R's well on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, hey, man. People are jealous of when we get to roll our R's, man. Gutierrez.
Wepa, yo, that's what you got to do to satisfy the ladies then. Just say your name when you're not. This is not a kid's show, folks. All right? Anyway. All right, so Iz, man, thank you for coming on today and spending some time to talk about your awesome project that's actually touring at GeekFest Year 8 this year. Yeah. I obviously had the pleasure, and like I said in the intro, you know, you're doing something that's Latino-based. It's for everybody, but you really threw something out there for us, and it made me feel so good, brother. I was like, oh, wow, I got to see something a little bit different from everyone else, you know? So I appreciate that. So Iz, a little bit info. Let us know where you hailing from. Where you from?
Well, I actually was born in Mexico, man, but I grew up in LA. So I've been here since I was like 5 years old. So I grew up around outside of LA. So that's kind of been where, you know, a lot of my influences and things, you know, were from. But yeah, man. So that's kind of where I grew up, and I got into a lot of comic stuff. And you know,
really? You got into comics? Wait a minute. What comic? What was the comic that brought you into the geekdom world?
You know, dude, my first comic, I think I remember I was like camping or something, and there was a store, and there was this like comic, and it was like the Punisher, and he was like strapped onto this like cannon. And I want to say that was my first comic, and I was like, what is this? But I was a Marvel kid, growing up. I was obsessed with X-Men. That was like my way to connect with these characters and things that were different. And for some reason I felt like, well, I feel different. You know, I feel like I want to connect with these characters, but X-Men was my jam, man. Like I loved them. I was obsessed when I was little. So I wanted to be an X-Men. Like I wanted to grow up, and I was hoping that I would get mutant healing abilities or something. It never happened. And I realized, oh wait, that's just in the comics. But yeah, man, like, my taste grew from there. You know, like I got into more Marvel comics. As I grew older, you know, I started to get into more of the like DC stuff and like Vertigo, and started reading like Preacher and like Sandman. And,
good stuff. Look at you.
Yeah. So like, you know, starting, you know, reading some of Frank Miller's stuff like Sin City and 300. And anyway, so like my taste evolved over time. And then, yeah, man, I think that's where a lot of the influence for me came from in terms of storytelling and like visuals, because from there I moved on and read more literature stuff. And when I went to school, it was like I got into short stories and like the literary like icons.
Gotcha.
And then that transitioned to film and visually, you know, coming from comics and stuff. I feel like a lot of the visual expectations that I have for a lot of my films and how I imagine things in my head when I'm thinking of stories, I really do think a lot of that comes from a lot of the great art that I saw reading comics, because it's unlike any other form where you can visually express the things that are going on, and not even just superhero stuff, man. Like some of the more like dramatic comics that are out there that had nothing to do with superhero stuff, like there's still artists that are drawing that. And
yes. Anyway,
I think a lot of that influence for me came from comics, and it moved on, you know, get into other literature stuff. But yeah, man, so that was pretty much my influence. And
people are curious, who's your favorite X-Man? Who's your favorite X-Man of all time? Because you say healing factor, so I'm already assuming it's Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I loved Wolverine, man. I loved Logan. That was my favorite character for sure. I love the mystery behind him.
Okay. Are you one of those guys that are with me that once Origins came out, it kind of really killed a little bit of Wolverine off, really?
Yeah, you know what? There's something about the mystery, and because so many years we had no idea that we could imagine what we want. You know, we could have our theories, our fan theories. I see where you're coming from, though. I see that it kind of killed a little bit off. It kind of there's like a lot of films. I think a lot of them are great when you can make up your own stories, where you could, come up with your own theories. And as soon as those things are solved or answered, yeah, it kind of takes a little bit away from it. I totally get it.
For me, it did. I mean, I was so anticipating it. I was digging it, and then when I started getting, it's like, you know what? It was TMI. Then it's like, okay, it's kind of ruins that mystery, like you said, of the character, the essence.
Yeah.
I mean, because I like you, I always love Wolverine. Of course, not listen. I'm not being biased because I'm Puerto Rican. He had knives coming out of his hands. I'm just saying, it was just an ill character. I remember the first cover I saw of Wolverine ever was actually the reprint of 181. That early 80s reprint, when they redid it in the 80s again. That was my first, like, oh, who the hell is this guy fighting the Hulk? Is he crazy? He looks like a midget fighting the Hulk. And I said, all right, my man got cojones, kid.
And no, it's funny too. It's like he's super short in the comics. Like a lot of people, unless you're familiar with it.
He's supposed to be 5'3", something like that, right?
Yeah.
5'5", around there.
Yeah, I think I saw something like on Twitter where I think it's like people were commenting like, why do they have Wolverine at 5'3"? And it's like, dude, that's how he is in the comics, man. Like, unfortunately they didn't cast him that way in the movies and stuff. But in the comics, he's this short, fucker who can just kick ass. But he's short and he's, got the adamantium. But anyway, so I'm curious what they do later on in the movies, man, like how they cast him. But I just don't feel like they've done his character 100% right. Like I love the Logan movie. I felt like it was the closest. And I just, from a filmmaking aspect, I loved it. But
I love the black and white edition, the noir edition. Dude, it was gorgeous. Right?
Yeah, I got that Blu-ray. I got the 4K Blu-ray.
It looks way better in black and white. Just to me, I don't know. It's just you get so much more involved in the story, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I hope they expand more of his character because I always felt he was like the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's movie. Like you could just go so deep into his character and make an amazing film out of it. So I hope they do some good shit with it.
Oh, and there you go. One of our viewers has confirmed it. 5'3", 195 pounds. I mean, damn, with a skeleton of metal though, is adamantium lightweight then? Because damn,
dude. So that means without the adamantium, he's like 5 pounds, man. Because that's some heavy. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, 100. Yeah, that's
shit, man. Making me feel bad. I must have adamantium in me.
Hey, man. After that COVID pandemic, man, 195, dude. That guy's like he weighs less than I do, right? Like, bro. After that COVID-19, the
COVID-19 was for the 19 pounds your asses gained at home. So, brother. All right, man. Let's start getting into the journey now, right? So you're a big comic fan, and you started reading literature, and you started getting into more film. Like, what was the film, or what was it that sparked that camera journey of yours? When was it that you picked up a camera and said, "I love this. I need to do more"?
Yeah, you know what? It took a while for the camera part to come in. It wasn't until I was out of high school and just kind of exploring, going into college, like undergrad. Before that, it was just like story. I was just always thinking up stories. It never occurred to me that all the ideas that I had in my head that were like, some of them were comic based, some of them were just like cool ideas I thought were awesome. I was pretty much picturing in my head a movie. Like even as in high school, I was visualizing them, how I wanted them to look, what music would play, what the characters would do. But I never occurred to me, I'm actually creating a film in my head. Okay. So it took a while for the camera part to come in. Before that, it was mostly just coming up with stories. And like I said, I was doing literature in college. But it wasn't until early on in undergrad that I was like, I'm going to try something. And that was like an eye opener. It was like all this stuff that I created in my head. Now I just put it, on make a film out of it. And maybe it's where I grew up. Maybe you just sometimes don't see that that's an opportunity, until it comes and you're like, oh no, I also can do this. And that's really what started, man. And, but growing up as a kid, as well, not putting the pieces together for some reason, like I grew up watching all the classics, like for around the time, when I was a kid, that the movies that would play on TV all the time, like Goonies, Aliens, Back to the Future, Big Trouble in Little China. You know,
Oh,
John
I love
Carpenter.
that. That was all the time. Big Trouble was on like every other week. Like, coño, all right, bro.
Yeah,
It's a fun movie, but stop it.
Yeah, these are all the movies that always came on. Like when I was just watching them, Terminator and stuff, and I just love these movies, and I didn't realize how much of an influence these were as a storytelling. They're all different movies, but they all like transported me into this world, to these characters. I love the action. I fucking love Ripley. Like she's one of my favorite characters like ever, for any genre, for any medium. And I didn't realize how much they influenced me again until I started picking up a camera and putting these ideas on a camera. And from then on, it was like, it was over. It was like, I want to do film. I started off doing really, like shorts and really like experimental stuff. And it wasn't until I decided after, a couple of years that I was like, I'm going to like actually focus on filmmaking and go to grad school, which I don't have to, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to try. And for me, it worked out because that's where I met a lot of my collaborators and friends and people that I've worked with on these projects. So anyway, that was my journey into film. And I got into directing programs, and I've done mostly drama stuff, which was really interesting because
you go from a comic book guy, action movies, and you're doing drama.
yeah, it was so nuts. I think, awesome. You know what? You brought up the whole Latino thing earlier, man. And I think that's where it comes from. I think it was this opportunity to kind of understand how things were going around me, things that I couldn't put into like, I couldn't put into words. I couldn't understand them until I got older. Yeah. And when I realized like things are askew, things are not equal for everybody. And at some point, making films and writing stories about that like became a thing. So it was just like, I'm writing all these stories that are dramas, but they're about something, they're about Latinos and like struggles. And so anyway, so that became a thing for a while. And I've just been doing that, but I've always loved comedy. And obviously, again, I love comics. So this, comic conventions was a way for me to like, think of it like a web series pilot, and with some social commentary, but make it fun. And
yes, that's the whole point, brother. That's what I loved about it. You weren't being preachy. There was nothing preachy about this, but definitely the social commentary is there, but in such a humorous way. Because I found myself chuckling a lot. That my wife was just sitting on the side of me and I had my headphones on, and I'm here chuckling away. And she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, yo, this dude got it. Yo, he got something really special here. And folks, you want to know what we're talking about? And he's, okay, before we even go, my boy Stu here, what kind of drama? How would you label a drama you do?
Oh, man, like...
Isn't that telenovela drama, right? Mauricio está haciendo trampa.
María, es tu madre. So my last couple of films have been... they've been social commentary, social awareness, but they've been very character driven. So most of the time they're characters going through struggles in the background of a real social awareness issue, with like immigration, with U.S. history. My last short film is about actually U.S. history. It's a drama, but it's based upon like really fucked up shit that happened to Mexican Americans 100 years ago.
It's so just like John Leguizamo. He did that stand up.
But so it's like
he was explaining history. And man.
Yeah. So they're deep dramas. They're like, but they're important. And I'm really passionate about them. And then before that, they're again very character driven stories. I did this love story. I didn't think was going to be a love story because I didn't think I would be all romancy and like write love stories, but it was about a couple that they're about to break up, and in the middle of a breakup, one of them gets sent back to Mexico, and they realize that, hey, maybe we're still in love, and it took this horrible event for us to realize that. So again, it gets deep, but it's all within a social awareness thing. So like that's just a couple. I have some more stuff going on, but
we're gonna learn all about that stuff in a second, though. But folks, you want to see what's actually touring on GeekFest Year, right? You want to see this wonderful meld of comics and drama and humor and some social, talk. Just check it out. Comic conventions by the one and only Is.
You're going to Comics Con again?
Yeah, of course.
It's our anniversary, Manny. I even marked it on your stupid Lord of the Rings calendar.
Oh yeah, it's right for second breakfast day.
What? I'm done.
Done? Wait, Steph.
Sucks, man. Don't worry. I'll throw a party together. We're gonna make keg, a band. It's gonna be epic.
Have you ever been in love? Horrible, isn't it? Means that someone can get inside you and mess you up. From Neil Gaiman, The Sandman, Volume 9, The Kindly Ones. I hate this.
Hijo de la chica, se lo chingo.
Yo, that was so funny, bro. And that joint, when that came out with chancla, I said, maldito sea, yo. I'm terrorized. If you make a horror movie, just make it about a chancla, bro.
Yeah,
I think everybody and their mother.
Just a chancla chasing somebody around.
Right?
Did you ever see that? Did you ever see there's this movie called La Piñata or something like that? It's a horror movie about a killer piñata.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. Is it a sci-fi movie, bro? It's something like sci-fi would do.
It's a horror movie, but it's ridiculous. But I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was just so out there.
Yo.
But anyway, check it out. It's like, but you know what, Matt? It's funny you say that because I would love to do a horror film. So it's like maybe
we gotta do it.
Maybe I'll do the chancla horror.
Hell yeah, you can have the lady or una viejita, you know, that she used to beat random kids with her chancla. Yeah. You know, and one day they killed her they took away the chancla from her and they killed her. There you go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the spirit comes back looking for the chancla and then she beats everybody's ass with one. Oh shit, Senora Chancla.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. But bro, let's talk about comic conventions, bro. One of the things, obviously, you said how, you know, we don't have much representation and how you kind of purposely flipped the character of Manny to be white Manny, as he's calling the film, which is, for me, hysterical. All right. Why did you feel that necessary? I mean, and talk about the comic conventions and how that even came about.
Yeah, you know, it's actually pretty funny because that wasn't the original intention. You know, speaking about underrepresentation and things, the character was supposed to be a total like Latino Manny, you know, Mexican American, and I was having issues casting for some reason. I was having issues finding the right Latino characters for the story, and maybe they were all just busy on projects. But the funny thing is because I couldn't find enough casting, I had to find a way to make it work. And in order to make it work, the final decision was, all right, well, we'll shoot this stuff first, but wouldn't it be funny if like a Latino Manny was actually like writing a comic book about his like life experiences, but, you know, wanted to make a commentary about how like he's going to make the main character white because, you know, he's trying to say something about how things are cast and how shows are made. And obviously that stuff.
He's also trying to sell the project.
Yeah. So he's like, you know, so I can sell my intellectual property. So there's so that's where that idea came from. And I guess in a way it worked out that the fact that I had issues with casting, that I was able to shoot the other aspect later and kind of make it into this web video. So, I mean, he's being a smart ass about it, but it's like, you know, if I'm gonna have a good chance of selling this to Hollywood, like, you know, I'm gonna like only the quote in the movie is, I'm gonna sprinkle a little brownness, little by little, because you know I didn't want to think that, you know, a bad hombre is coming after them or something.
You're so right though, exactly, man. Give them small doses, a little bit of sazon, because if you bring it out the box from the beginning, you know they're gonna be like, see, because I always say that, for example, remember that old show John Leguizamo tried to do, House of Buggin', the Latino sketch comedy show. I mean,
that sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah,
that's the problem there. John Leguizamo, you know what I mean? Big show. They only gave it like 3 episodes and canceled the shit. I'm like, wow, they didn't even want to give it a chance.
Yeah,
it's like, yo, what about us? This is why I appreciate. I don't know if you heard like Estrella TV. They're trying to, you know, step it up and bring bilingual.
Yeah.
So because listen, we don't just talk Spanish. There's a lot of Latinos that don't talk Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Know? Just because of how they were raised.
Yeah, man, and I'm glad you brought that up because you know, the Latino man, he's played by this awesome actor named Javi Moreno, and that's one of the things we talked about when I asked him to play the character. Is, you know, he said that he loved the idea of just this character that's just a total nerd, comic convention guy, obsessed with fantasy and Lord of the Rings and comics. He's like, but I love that he's just a guy who's a nerd. He's not some stereotypical Latino guy.
Yeah,
that's exploitative. He's just like everybody else, but he's a nerd, but he's also Latino. And it's like, that's one of the things that I really, you know, strive for too as well. And I wanted to do in this thing. It's like, I'm a, you know, Latino, Mexican American, and I'm a nerd, and I go to comic conventions all the time.
Yep, you're a nerd. You go to comic conventions. You're a director. You're not a janitor. Like the stereotype always wants to push us as. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not all gangbangers and we're not all in the cartel. It's like some of us just like to read about gunfights and comics and not be the actual guy with the gun.
Exactly. So we're running with you if some shit go down.
Yeah. No, man. I ain't the one with the gun, dude. I'm getting away with you. Like,
Yo, let me tell you, I had an incident in New York as a kid where I got robbed on the subway by minority folks, right, if you will, and that was what was funny. There was a white folks on the corner looking at us like, "Oh, I thought you were with them. Why? Because we're brown."
Oh,
like
man.
Idiots, we're suffering just like you are, idiots. I lost my whole paycheck that day, son.
Yeah, my wallet also got stolen, man. So come on. So yeah, dude, it's like, so I think that's been one of my biggest agendas with the films I shot, whether it's comedy, whether it's drama or whatever, or whether it's my future horror chancla like epic. Like, it's gonna be
Mama Chancla.
Yeah, Mama Chancla. It's, I want to put characters that are not exploitative. And if they are going to be representative of our culture, not to make them, exploitative. Let it just be strong characters who just happen to be Latino or whatever, or other. Yeah,
we're normal people like everybody else. And even Stewart says he's the same with African Americans. There's a stereotype, right? They're drug dealers or something. Like, one of my friends happens to be a black creator. He goes, why every time they show the black guy, he's got to be the cool black guy in the room? It's like, we're not all cool. He got offended by it. I'm like, but it's true, That's the way it is, though. And they always want to portray us a certain way. And this is why it's very important for creators like yourself, coming from a minority background, to be the ones behind the camera, so that way you could, express upon people like, listen, we're more than what you think we are.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man. And being behind the camera, being the creator, being the writer, being the director, you have control over that, and I like to practice what I preach. So it's like, if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to do it, being behind the camera, because so many times, I mean, how many times have we watched a movie and all of a sudden it's like, do you seriously, they couldn't bring any kind of brown guy or brown lady onto the set and just ask them like, hey, is this cool?
Yeah,
like, they couldn't just grab somebody. Like, anyway, the lack of people behind the camera that represent, our culture. So it's like, I want to practice what I preach. And certainly with those movies and comic conventions, it was like, I'm going to give people a character that they're probably maybe not used to, total nerd, but he's total Latino, Mexican American, grew up in LA.
With a great cast too, because the cast did an amazing job, yo. I mean, I like homie Bendito almost lost an eye, in an incident there, which again had me dying, because bro, I would kill somebody if they did that to me.
Shooting that scene was so funny, man, because for those who haven't seen it, it's a condom that he like flicks.
Oh my god,
it's an unused condom.
Thank God.
But we had to find a way to make it fly, through the air to hit him on the face. And every time we tried to throw it, of course, or flick it, it was just like, slobbering around the air. And it just was, it didn't have the weight. So, we had to find a solution. So either myself or somebody, I don't remember who, was like, we got these gummy bears at Crafty, at the Crafty table. So we started to put these gummy bears inside the condoms just to give it a little weight. So that way it would, glide through the air. And that worked, man. It was like, so then it did it, hit him in the face.
Hysterical. Folks, these are special effects secrets here, right? Gummy bears in a condom will make it fly better.
Yes. Yes.
If somebody happens to walk in now in the middle of the sentence, like, what in the hell are you guys talking about?
Yeah. Gummy bear and condoms. Yeah, it's my next movie.
I know it's 420, folks, but we ain't that crazy now. So so when it comes to that, is GeekFest the first time comic conventions is out, or has this been touring?
No. That GeekFest is actually the first festival that we've done. It took a while to actually get.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is our first festival. It took a while to get comic conventions finished, because a lot of the stuff I was doing on my own in terms of like the post-production stuff. But no, it's the very first one. I'm familiar with GeekFest, and I was really hoping to get in because I have gone to the screenings at the multiple conventions that I've gone to where they had GeekFest films. So I've gone in and watched the stuff that they did. So I was really hoping that this would get on GeekFest. Now, unfortunately, like comic conventions are closed, but like my hope is that they'll open up. But in either case, like it's been really cool to have them, stream on It's a Short, because it, I feel like maybe it actually more people can have be able to watch it. But
definitely, there's so much good stuff. I mean, including yours.
Dude, the people that I had the interview with on the GeekFest panel, man, their films were great. Like everything that I've seen so far has like passion, has like a personality to it, So they did a really great job of curating the films. Like there's a voice to all of them, and it's great. Yeah.
You know what that is? That's a salute to Bill O, the man behind GeekFest. And while we're talking about GeekFest, let's show them some love real quick.
Yeah.
Bill has to do it with that damn music every time. It gets me angry. I told somebody before, I feel like getting into a fight with that. Like, let's get it done. But of course, folks, right there, geekfestla.com is the website for you to know where you could watch comic conventions by Iz and a whole lot more. So check it out, because again, these are opportunities for you to vote for your favorite film, and this is definitely one of my faves. Not being biased because it's Latino, because it's goddamn funny. That's why.
Thanks,
this
man.
had me chuckling. That's really the key to listen. For me, I want to support everybody. I grew up in New York, a cultural melting pot. So I grew up in diversity. Diversity is normal to me. You feel me?
Yeah.
But then I get into the minds of others, and you look at rural states, if you will, right? In the middle of the country that don't have that diversity, and then you could kind of get why they, feel standoffish sometimes. But let's just keep celebrating how awesome we all are. You know what I mean? Because again, even with the GeekFest, it's the whole world of creators.
Yeah, man.
I mean, UK, Ireland, Oz. West Coast right here, representing Long Beach. I mean, are you a Snoop Dogg fan? What's going on here?
Dude, this is I am a Snoop Dogg fan, but I went to my undergrad college. I went to Cal State University Long Beach. So
there you
go. That was my first college, man. So I lived there for a bit. Went to that school. Long Beach is awesome, man. If you're not familiar, you visit LA, go down to Long Beach, go to the pier, go take a walk by the lighthouse.
Okay. So I gotta ask, in order for me to be safe in Long Beach, do I have to call Iz G first?
I'll give you the tour for sure. You're going to be safe no matter what. But if you want the tour, man, you want to hit up the cool bars or restaurants, yeah, you can hit me up.
All right. So let me ask you that. What is the best spot food-wise in your area, and why?
Oh crap. In my area, geez. Oh man, you're stressing me out. Just one. Oh man. Okay, I have to pick. It's gonna be a Mexican restaurant, man, but it's over by where my family lives in Pomona. So if anybody's familiar with the area, like I grew up in Pomona, which is just about like almost 30 miles out east of downtown LA. Okay. But there's a restaurant there called Los Jarritos, which has like bomb Mexican food, like the best burritos. Yeah, dude. So that's my favorite. I have lots of favorites because I like a lot of food.
What Stu's like? Okay, give him best two. All right, I'll give you best two. All right, I'll give you another one.
Oh man. Oh geez. Oh crap, dude. Putting pressure. Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, what's like the go-to meal? Like you're in the middle of the night, you're working on editing some film. You get a little hungry. Like, do you have a favorite munchie spot then?
A favorite munchie spot. Okay,
or a go-to munchie.
I'll go with King Taco again. This is like if you want some just local, more in the LA area, like King Taco. Yeah, King Taco is like legit. It's all around. But you can pick up some really good tacos, burritos. I don't know. I'll stick to the Mexican food.
I get it, bro. I mean, I'm over here looking still for a good Puerto Rican spot. I found a Puerto Rican food truck that it got some good stuff. Absolutely. I definitely found Don Julio's. That's a Mexican spot. They make the best quesadilla, hermano. Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give you another one though, because I just thought of it. There's a taco truck, and they have a few of them around. But it's called Leo's, Leo, Leo's Taco Truck.
Leo's.
If you're in the area, look for one of those, dude. In fact, I would say go there instead. Go there instead, because
I think food trucks be doing better shit than restaurants a lot of the time.
I think some of them do, man. And this one's great. Like, yeah. This is awesome.
I have my guest assuming of you over here. I mean, my fan over here, like best dispensary. Damn, bro.
Oh man, there's dispensaries everywhere. Like,
bro,
there's like.
My favorite story is that I went to San Diego Comic Con for the first time in 2019. Right? You know, me and my boy Klep, CX, shout out. We're rushing to San Diego every time because again, we were like an hour away. We had to drive early morning. Find parking, and the whole time I was itching to smoke weed, but we were always in a rush, right? Mind you, we found the same parking 3 days in a row. How is it on day 3 when I finally decided to look up? I wasn't parked in front of a dispensary all along.
Yeah, I
was so mad, bro.
Yeah. It was probably like in between things that you don't like probably realize. No. It was probably like in between a like an urgent care and
not even though it was just there. You know what brought my eye to it? And this is the funniest shit. It's because I saw someone selling.
Oh, that's funny.
Somebody was just standing there because the kids kept going up to him. I said, okay, this mother must have some bud. And then I just look up over his head. I'm like, this motherfucker is selling in front of a dispensary? What a bastard. Because he's like, yo, I got better prices. I'm like, wow, California is cutthroat, son.
Man, everything's here in California, man.
Nah, man. Well, that's great though. So, what else you got working on, bro? I mean, you know, with comic conventions, I definitely would love to see this as a sitcom or a web series. Listen, dude, you deserve a damn sitcom. Effing a web series. I want to see a sitcom. But what else are you working on right now?
I want to expand on this idea, man. That whole like comic book comedy with the, you know, as far as the visual elements and all the themes that are pretty much in comic conventions. I do want to expand that into something that would be like a series, like a web series. So that's definitely something in the pipeline that I want to do. There's also a horror movie that I would love to do as well that I'm actually developing with an actor friend. Nice. Because I really want to do like a first horror film. But yeah, man, I would love to do this kind of series or something similar. And I'm definitely writing it. Like I'm writing, like I said, something that's taking everything that I liked about comic conventions in terms of the themes, the comic book themes and the comedy, and expanding on it, and would love to make it a series, just like seeing these characters develop and, you know, see what they do. Yeah.
We got Stu saying, I would love to see it, period.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the support, man.
You know, and with that, I think maybe Estrella TV would eat something like this up, to be honest.
Hey, man, if you got connections there, hit them up.
Oh, I know. Listen, we spoke to someone from there, and one of the producers from Estrella was there too. So I do have an email. I do have Alex Montaner. That was our guest, and his producer was there. So it's like, yo, we know somebody. I could say, hey, check out Iz's work, because again, what you're doing is awesome. I had fun with it, not because again it's Latino based, you know, because you know as you watch it, you don't have a heavy focus on that. It just happens that have Latino cast in it. But you're not preachy about it. This is why I loved it. It was so funny, and I felt comfortable watching people that look like me speak English. I said, Mama, when she put all that chancla, una pela, and his primo, which is really cool. Because I love that, yo, because I'm a metalhead too. But homie was dancing ranchero to heavy metal. I was like, yo, homie is like, yeah, yo, get it.
Oh, that was a fun scene to shoot. So my buddy, actor friend who plays Chewie in there, his name's Rafael Cobos Delgado. And yeah, man, I was like, dude, I had just met him. I was like, man, I'm gonna have this metal scene. Can you do quebradita, dude? Because I think it's funny to have this guy dancing quebradita in front of this hardcore metal band. And by the way, the whole metal band, they were all Latinos. It was a Latino metal band called Profecia. I had just met them, and they were the nicest. They were the nicest guys, man. They were
Bro.
like, yeah, we'll show up to your set and just play. Like, okay.
Yo, homie, check this out. When I lived in New York, I was about to go see Marilyn Manson. No, actually, no, Slipknot that year. That was Slipknot. And yo, bro, that was my first metal concert, and it was my exterminator. He noticed me. I had long hair. This is when I had, piercings here, mad piercings in my ears. I was a Puerto Rican metalhead. So, we would get along. And one day after work, wifey gets home. There was a sign on my mailbox talking about, yo, ask your husband if he wants to go see Slipknot with me for free.
Sweet.
Bro, that was my little brother's favorite band. He never saw them before. Me, I was like, all right, I'll go. Obviously, my baby brother was very angry. But yo, we were pre-gaming, so we would go to a deli on the corner, right? We each drank a 6-pack of Corona. Now, Corona cuts through me like water, so I'm going to the bathroom in 5 minutes. But there's this group of Mexicans in the corner. And they like this, grilling me, son. And I mean, they're bald head, tats, and all. They just grilling me. And I'm on my 6th beer already. And I look at my homie. I said, yo, you ready? He goes, ready for what? He goes, yo, I'm about to say something. I can't take this. So I said something like, yo, you good, son? You got a problem here? He goes, can I ask you something? I'm like, what happened? He goes, are you Puerto Rican? I'm like, yeah. He goes, in Puerto Ricans like heavy metal? I'm like, motherfucker, we don't just dance salsa, guy. He loved my answer. We got along. Yeah. We had another beer. And then in the middle of the mosh pit, when I'm fighting off like 3 cats, guess who popped up next to me? Him and his squad. Fending off everybody else. It was Latinos versus the world on Slipknot. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Maybe that's a thing I'll tackle in a later web series like episode of Comic Conventions, because I growing up, I've liked hard rock and metal for a long time, man. And I feel like for those that don't know metal or haven't been to shows, like I always got that like from even other Latinos where they're just like, isn't it just a bunch of like white people at metal shows?
No, it's not.
I was like, no, man. Like, especially around here, you go to metal shows. It's just like there's a lot of raza that's there, like in the pit.
Oh, y'all get down, man. Y'all get down.
Yeah, it's
like get the fuck down. I mean, it's hard too.
Yeah, and it's not just like a few of us. It's like there's a lot.
No, it's not.
It's like
that's a tribe,
especially
bro.
in LA. Yeah. So anyway, like those kind of misconceptions about who likes what type of music and who goes with what type of shows. I think that'd be something funny to tackle, like maybe in a future episode or something. Yeah.
Yeah, over here, man. It's like, I like metal and grunge. Yeah,
fuck yeah, man. Yeah.
Yo, all right. So before we even let you go, I want to know then, have you gone to metal concerts? And if so, what was the best metal concert you ever attended?
The best. Okay, so they're more progressive rock, so I don't know if I should say metal. So
okay, so let's go with progressive.
I'll give you a couple. So Tool is one of my all-time favorite.
You saw Tool?
Oh, dude, I've seen them a lot. I've seen them.
My daughter is a fan trying to see them too.
I started going to Tool concerts since like around my first shows. Like when I started going to shows,
they were
like Tool was one of the first ones. So I've been following them. I've seen them a lot. Visually, performance-wise, they're one of the best bands in general. But just live, they're fucking amazing.
I can't imagine.
So recently, some of the last shows that I've seen some great metal shows. But one of the more recent shows, I'll just stick with more recent memory. But one of my favorite live shows right now and live performers for metal is a band called Gojira. They're French.
Oh, I know Gojira. Yeah.
They're really popular, but dude, they kick ass. Their music is awesome, and live, they just perform like it's insane. They're so clean. They sound good. They bring the audience in. You feel like it feels like the band is there to watch you more than you are the band. Like they just appreciate you. But Gojira is one of my recent most like favorite metal bands. So if you get a chance to see Gojira when everything opens up again, check them out.
Get it done. Get her done, folks. Get her done. And over here, Stu's talking about a Latino band called Stupid Decisions on Bandcamp. Have you heard of them?
No, I'm gonna write that down though.
Stupid Decisions, a Latino band on Bandcamp. Was it a stupid decision because we were Latino? Like, yo, why are we messing around with this white stuff? I don't know, bro.
I'm telling you, that's a good idea for maybe like an A or B story on an episode, man. Like,
oh yeah, bro. On comic conventions, all of a sudden the crew goes to a metal concert, not knowing what to expect.
Well, you know the idea with the Chewie character, which is his cousin, the one that dances quebradita at the metal show. Like the whole idea with him is that he actually turns into a metalhead. Like that was my idea. Like going forth, like he's actually like, you know, he's still like his primo that just came, you know, that's visiting from Mexico, but he just discovered metal. So like from going forth, he's now just always wearing metal shirts. And it'd be funny if maybe he starts a band or something. Like,
I would love it, bro. I at one point in New York, I had a mohawk. My shit was fire though. Fire. Yeah. I had people stopping me. Yo, I love your look. I said, great. How can we make money off it? You know what I mean? The hell you stopping me for? Unless you're gonna make some money, you better cut this shit off. Stop it. I'm one of those. I'm sorry. I'm loud. Like, yo, okay, great. How can we take advantage? If not, thank you for the compliment. Please move on.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm an asshole that way, but it's all right, bro.
No, man, just being real. It's all good.
Yeah, man. Us assholes are gonna take over the world, so don't worry about it. I'm just playing, bro. Though with comic conventions, I really loved it. Thank you for what you're doing, keeping me entertained. Thank you for putting a big smile on my face, because that's
man. Thanks.
Just with the opening line, the way you started, like, yeah, we don't have the rep. I'm like, me and my wife talk about this all the time. So this is great. Thank you. I can't wait for people to check this out. I can't wait till this actually becomes a show. I do have your email, and I will introduce you to the people from Estrella, just so they could check it out, because I think this is TV worthy, man. I love it. I love it for real.
I think so, man. Like there's a lot of potential, and I have a lot of ideas.
And it's comics. You're gonna get everybody involved because it's comic book stuff. Yep. I mean, come on, guys, think about this. I mean, what would your girl do to you that on your anniversary, you rather go to Comic-Con? I mean, bro, all I know is my balls are going to be like in a cup. I would be showing you them. Look, this is what I had before the Comic-Con.
Dude, no, I think that's a great thing. It's like this dude's just so like into his comic books. He forgets he has a girlfriend. It's like, you know,
and not that he forgets, but you know, he's passionate about his joint. Only once a year. Give him, for me, I always thinking the whole time is like, why don't you take her and show her why it's so cool? Yeah, you bastard, you're messing it up for yourself. Coño, no sea bruto. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Manny has a lot to learn, man.
Whole lot. And this is the whole thing. I want to see the character of Manny develop. His family.
Oh yeah,
I want to see Mama Chancla beat some ass, because again, that I am so fearful. I want to see a T-shirt, comic conventions, and all you see is the pink Chancla.
They animated like comic book thing, like just.
Wepa, yo, mío, hell yeah, yo. Who needs Superman when you got your mom with a chancla? All right. So with that, yo, thank you again, Iz, and folks.
Yeah, man, thanks.
Let me show it off again. All right. So if you want to follow Iz, he's on Instagram, Twitter, and also Clubhouse. I'm jealous. I'm not on Clubhouse because I don't have anything Apple. As Iz GOOT.
Yeah, I just got on Clubhouse. I'm discovering it. It seems pretty cool, man.
Yo, everybody's talking crazy about it, especially for creators. Like, you know, you could create some really great webs, if you will, of a network, you know, within Clubhouse. So good for you. And of course, make sure to check out Iz Gutierrez.
Yeah, roll those R's. Roll those R's.
Gutierrez.com. Make sure to check it out so you can know everything that's coming up. And of course, yo, you want to see what's coming up on GeekFest LA, not just comic conventions by Iz, but everything else. And get ready to vote in May, because they're going to have another Power Weekend where you're going to have to vote for your favorite film. So GeekFestLA.com. Shout out to Bill O right there. Shout out to all mi gente. I'm Al Mega from Comic Crusaders. Make sure to check us out. Also at undercovercapes.com. And Iz, once again, mucho amor, brother. Thank you for joining us, bro. You awesomely rock. No problem.
Thanks for everybody. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yo, Stu, thanks for the all the tidbits of info you were throwing out there. You rule. Just before we go, he said it's 195 without adamantium, 300 with.
Oh, see.
All right.
I knew that info was out there. I was.
You know what though? At 5'3", 300 pounds, and he still moves fast. Yo, shout out to Wolverine too.
Dude, see, no wonder Colossus throws him around, man. For like,
you know, olvídate. And there we go. Omega Comic Crusaders. Huepa, para que tú sepas. Hasta la próxima, mi gente.
See, man.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites of the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.